Good morning. Today I'm going to persuade you guys something that you'll have to listen to in the speech. Okay. Plebe. What is a plebe? I doubt that any of you guys actually know exactly what a plebe is. Well, I didn't have to go to dictionary.com to figure out that a plebe meant the lowest form of human life. I found that out by observing the way my brother was treated back in 2004 during his plebe summer. Where most college students begin in September, strolling around the campus, buying new books, enjoying the new friendships in the new dormitories, there was absolutely nothing to enjoy about my brother Evan's first few months at the Naval Academy. They were brutal. The Navy says that it's necessary to knock students down and build them back up over the 4 years at the academy. But when knocking them down involves humiliation and constant punishment, things are taken way too far. The plebes are discouraged, disheartened, and demoralized over the 7 weeks of plebe summer. They are pushed beyond their limits, physically and mentally, and are put through ridiculous and nonsensical orders for no reason at all. Today, I will convince this class that the United States Naval Academy should end the tradition of plebe summer and replace it with a regular orientation in September. To me, 7 weeks of pure torture before a 4-year physical crucible just seems like a really bad idea. Although plebe summer is only 7 weeks, it's an eternity for the students. There is a hate-hate relationship that develops at the United States Naval Academy. It's all about survival, and it's tough, make no mistake. Days start before sunrise at 5 a.m. with mandatory physical training, after which there is no rest. The remainder of the day is filled with classes, military drill, training, PT prep in the morning at 5 a.m., and physical training, after which there is no rest. The remainder of the day, days are planned down to the minute, between when plebes wake up and when they go to bed, like I said. The stress levels are really high, and there is so much to be accomplished every day that it seems impossible to accomplish it all. Many quit before the summer is over, which is really a shame because there is so much potential in the students, and the unnecessary punishment just drives them away. Along with being physically draining, the plebe summer at the United States Naval Academy is mentally exhausting. It has been said that the first third of your USNA experience is the 7 weeks of plebe summer. The second third is your plebe year, and the remaining third is the rest of your stay at the academy. On Induction Day, also referred to as I-Day, which is the first day of the academy in June 30th, the plebes are given the Naval Academy official handbook called Reef Points that they must memorize as soon as possible. The required knowledge in the handbook Reef Points are called the rates, and the rates consist of the knowledge of the enlisted officers' ranks of all branches in the military, proficiency in the phonetic alphabet, information on all current Navy and Marine Corps ships and aircraft, and certain quotes which promote esprit de corps, which is also another way of saying camaraderie. I don't know about you guys, but that's an insane amount of information to memorize in about a day. There's no given time to actually memorize the book, and they don't have any free time that they can memorize it. Along with memorizing Reef Points, they must also memorize the daily breakfast, lunch, and dinner menus at King Hall, and they must read several newspaper articles from the morning's paper. They must be able to read and discuss at least 3 articles by breakfast. They need to have read and be conversant in these topics, and the only time to memorize them is around 4:30 in the morning before the rest of the school gets up. Around 6 a.m., they will probably have their come-around of the day with an upperclassman, and that means that they'll go over naval rates with them, and the upperclassmen will demand them to be repeated over and over again. Adding insult to injury, plebes are forced to endure a ridiculous and unnecessary orders. Plebe summer detail, which are upperclassmen acting as drill sergeants, scream and demand better performance of all the plebes, and all in all, make life miserable. The plebes are not allowed to be caught walking in Bancroft Hall, which is a dormitory building where 4,000 of them lived during that summer. They must always be chopping, which is a run with high knees, which is made to intentionally look ridiculous. They're not allowed to walk on the grass, sit down while they're on the yard, and they must always be prepared for room inspection. The alpha inspection, which is the hardest, socks even have to be folded a certain way. One of the harsher punishments is called a chow call, and I'll give an example of a chow call. There's a video of it. You guys probably have no idea what he said, right? Okay. What he said was the memorized rates from reef points, the menu of the day, the officers on duty for the day, the week's major events in the yard, and the week's professional topic of the day. And all of that had to be memorized in advance, and the upperclassmen at any minute can ask them to do a chow call like that. A huge part of their day is obviously spent focusing on completely meaningless things. By the end of the summer, a number of the students have either dropped out, been kicked out, or survived wondering what they got themselves into. By the time they begin their academic year in September, they are so beaten down that it's a miracle that any of them can carry on. The United States Naval Academy should end the tradition of plebe summer and begin with a regular orientation in September because it is mentally draining, physically draining, and the unnecessary and ridiculous things that they are put through is just time consuming. The summer the students spend at the academy is a horrible way to begin their lives as midshipmen. Thank you.
No, I gotta wait for the...